Yo, what's up? I'm installing some floating shelves right now, so I figured I'd go live, see if anybody is on right now. Got a few tools that are cool that I was gonna highlight quick. Hey, if you're on, let me know if my mic's working, and I think if you comment, I'm curious if the message will pop up. Anybody on? If you're on, tag what your name is, where you're from, what you got going on tonight. What's going on? Yeah, some knotty alder, 3/4 plywood, some floating shelves. You still in Arizona? That's a good show. Landman. I just started that. Man, I'm envious of you right now. The weather out there, I'm sure, is gorgeous. Here it's an ice storm. Oh, man. That would be awesome. How's work going out there? I'm sure you guys are building some cool projects. I should have labeled this live stream, "Watch an old man fall off a ladder." I'm having to take this down and run my long shelf because I don't want a miter where the two floating shelves meet. It's too hard to get a nice, real nice tight joint, so I'm just butting it. So that's why I'm taking this section down right now. Nice. You're doing residential construction, aren't you? Or is it commercial out there? And how are the kids doing? They probably love it out there, don't they? Nice. That'd be cool. That'd be super cool. I always thought that would be an awesome job, building playgrounds, especially the playgrounds they have today. Those tension slabs, that's super cool. I remember maybe it was Matt Reisinger. He had a video explaining those pre-tension and post-tension slabs. That's awesome. Yeah, that would be wild. All the codes and regulations, I'm sure that's super strict. And I'm sure you'd get fined, you know, a ton if you mess up one little thing. You probably get hit and have to fix it, I would imagine. Well, the next trick's going to be getting this next shelf up there. These things are heavy. So I'll kind of show you where my workflow's at. Basically, this other side, I did all the flooring in here, happy feet. Glue down, it's a loose lay. I did a herringbone in the foyer. Oh yeah. Well, and with your experience, you know, I feel like you'd be able to relate with the guys actually doing the work, so you can manage them so much better, you know, being a good general with hands-on experience. So these are the shelves I'm working with. Like I said earlier, knotty alder. Here's a drop. They're 3/4. Put them together with some Tight Bond 3 and some 23 gauge pins here and there. It's kind of crazy how strong they are. I did put little spacer blocks when I put them together, just plywood towards the back end, and put a few pins in them to hold them for transport. Yeah, that'd be crazy working with those big numbers. But it would be nice where the budget, you know, where you have a little room in a big company like that where, you know, versus a small business where budget is not as big of a concern. You probably have a fence around all your, like a big security fence around all your projects, don't you? No, this is my wife's medical practice. So I just totally finished this whole side, which you can't see the floor now, but this is all new flooring. It was carpet before. These will all be offices or treatment rooms. So this side's gonna be like office space in here. And then this side is IVs and supplements. And there'll be 2 offices over here. But so, it's kind of a mess in here right now because I've been working in here, so ignore the mess. Yeah. So this side's kind of the chill side, and where you can get all your essentially supplements, healthy food, like snacks and whatnot, are all going here. I'll probably build some more shelves, like a built-in unit maybe here and here. I don't know about there. I'm hoping we can carry all of what she needs just through here. This little tool is an Amazon find. Like those Collins stair tools. This is some probably China knockoff, but the build is actually really, really good. And it's got a lot of cool features like these stops. And they're magnetic, so they go right back on when it's not in use. You got adjustment. It comes, I think, max length is like a 56-inch tread, but pretty sweet little tools, like $100. Came with a case. It worked really well for, you know, like getting these. Basically where these 2 shelves meet, just absolutely perfect. And just lay it on with those stops. But it's pretty slick. It's definitely made me look like a lot better carpenter than I am. Because you can dial it in, and then your, you know, your angle is absolutely perfect. And I got some new M12 gear. I love it. This little barrel grip jigsaw. This thing is money. Because I was going to buy the M18 barrel grip, but it's so big that to run it like upside down one-handed is about impossible. So I knew you really liked the M12, so I bought this, and then I bought that 23 gauge pinner, and they're money. I'm a big M12 fan. I'm gonna go grab that next shelf and see if I can't muscle it up there. And hope I don't fall. Oh, really? Rigid came out with a 15. It'd be interesting to see how similar it is to the Milwaukee. Because I feel like Rigid and Milwaukee, their tools are always, this almost the same exact tool, just a different color. One of my spacer blocks fell down in here. And got glued in, so hopefully I can pop it out. It says there's 14 people on. If you're on, comment what's going on tonight, where you're from, what projects you got shaking. Little pro tip. Hey, it was good talking to you. Take care. Hope your family's doing well. And enjoy that weather. Go sunbathe for me. But here's a pro tip. Before you get your floating shelf up there, if you use tape around all the edges you're going to scribe, that gives you a really nice visible line to cut to. And it also, you leave that in place, and any minor imperfections. You know, if your cut isn't absolutely perfect, you can just leave that tape there, caulk it, peel your tape, and then with finished grade materials, then you don't have to worry about going back and taping it. It's kind of eliminates a step. So I'm gonna tape off the entire edge right now. While it's easy to get to, now let's see if I can get this up. And I forgot one edge to freaking tape. It says there's 32 people watching. If you're watching, comment. So basically the real challenge of this job is getting everything scribed and then also making sure all the shelves after they're scribed, you know, are in one plane, perfectly plumb. And what I did after I set my initial, I shot my laser, because you can see right now that top one is not trimmed yet, so we're like 1.5 inches past. And once I get it scribed, and I have a perfect, because I have like 1.5 inches of play. What's going on? What's going on, Pilgrim? But essentially, using a compass or scribe like this, I have my plumb line, and then I can set this compass. Like if I was going to do it in one shot, I would set that pointer end, and then dial this all the way out where my pencil lead was on that line. You know, so this difference is what I would scribe it to down there. But first, I'm going to get this cut absolutely perfect, just because I don't want to mess this up. So once I get a perfect scribe fit here, then I will do that and take, you know, an additional inch off. Which if I was a pro, I would do it all in one shot. But you can see we got a slight gap, maybe a 1/16, which the wall has got considerably flatter. You got a good 1/4 inch back there, but we're tight and tight. So there's a big hump in this wall. So that's where I'll set my compass to this distance. and then run it the whole way. So yeah, if you don't own a scribe or a compass, buy one, because they make you look like a lot better carpenter. It says there's 30 people watching. If you're watching, comment what's going on tonight, what you're up to, what projects you got shaking. What's going on, George? Georgie? What kind of projects are you working on lately? This little scribe is cool though. It was like an off-brand. Nothing. Are you a carpenter? Oh, really? Are you a regular subscriber to my channel, or you just seen this and jumped on? So basically right now I'm going to set my dial to like the thickness in the back. And then once I have it set to my gap, if this will pick up, I can't see the camera, it's kind of weird, but so I need to set it to my maximum gap, and then I just run that along the wall, and it'll give you the perfect cut. This process can be pretty frustrating though. I feel like this is some tedious work. There. What do you mean, Georgie? Sorry, it's hard to read the comments. So now I'm going to scribe the end And my tip I gave you about taping it off, I forgot. So I got to retape it when it's up there. So do as I say, not as I do. So these are floating shelves. They're going to be for in a medical practice, for supplements and whatnot. So I just got them all built this last week, and now I'm installing them. But right now, I'm basically scribing them to the wall so there's no gaps. So it looks like a perfect fit. So I essentially built them a 1/2 inch oversized. And now I can get them up in place and scribe them, because as most people know, drywall, by the time it's got joint compound, nail pops, you know, a bowed stud here and there, drywall is never perfect. So if you have a perfect floating shelf and go to stick it to the wall, there's going to be gaps everywhere and it's going to look terrible. So this is kind of a neat little trick. Oh, and for anybody watching right now interested in tool belts, go check out Clovis. That's Clovis D. I can't check my phone. Clovis DIY. His name is Pat. He's a carpenter, but he started making tool belts. Now he actually has like production up, and they're sweet. Basically, it's kind of, I would say, all the best features of Diamondback, Badger, what is it, Atlas, but hammer holster sleeves, bit indexes. His belt looks like it would be the best belt out there as far as comfortability. But super cool dude. I think once he blows up, he'll be known as like the top non-leather tool belt manufacturer. Super good dude. Yeah, so go check him out. I've been meaning to do a video on that just to give him a shout out because he's a cool dude. And I think he's got a really stellar product. Another good tip when you're scribing, if you don't have a compass, you can just use your pencil. And that's the reason that like a carpenter's pencil has all these different, this different profile, because you can run it on the edge of the wall like this to get you a 1/2 inch or 3/8, I believe quarter, so quarter, 3/8, 1/2 inch. And it's actually, this is way easier than doing like a compass like I was doing. So if you don't have one of these, you can just use your carpenter's pencil, or really any thickness. You know, you could cut a piece of scrap wood at a 1/4 inch or whatever your gap is, and just use a scrap piece of material. So for underneath, that's what I've been doing because no one's ever going to see underneath here. You know, because you'd have to tuck your head back up in there. So when I'm cutting these with my track saw, I'm cutting probably an extra 1/16 off on the bottom. So that way I know I'm not going to get hung up, and the top is what's going to meet the wall first. The first one I didn't do that, and I kept fighting the bottom. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to cut the bottom a little heavy. So take your pencil, so much easier than trying to use a compass is just using a pencil. So Jordy, where are you from? You in the US? Says there's 20 people watching. If you're watching, comment. Well, Georgie, it was nice talking to you. I'm going to sign off because I got to cut this, so it's going to be loud and it's kind of hard to try to manage both. But thanks for everybody that tuned in. Hopefully by the end of the day tomorrow I'll have this done. So have a good weekend.